Another nice morning here in Southern California, and ready to kick off a new topic. So let's get going. Um, so I'm going to start off this new topic. I think it's going to be really important for us to kind of start fresh, and start really before we get into the nitty gritty of various channels and various tools that you can use to improve your digital marketing performance. Just really start off with strategy, and really dive right into what that digital strategy is and how digital strategy is really can be really important to your overall digital plan. So we'll just dive right in. Uh, as we kick off this new series, we're going to basically be talking about what I think is really the backbone of marketing your e-business, and our goal is really to make sure that to turn kind of each of you guys into digital marketing gurus capable of driving your own marketing strategy and building a successful enterprise using your own knowledge. So each week we're going to be coming in here and building on the information that came before. We're kind of starting this fresh, and next week we'll build on top of it and get into increasingly more specific subject matters. But don't worry, we're going to have a trove of information available at our website, and we will link that into the description below. So, what is digital strategy, and why does it matter? So a digital game plan is crucial to helping you achieve your goals. It's basically like a playbook for marketers and companies. So it's basically helps you to strategize what your plan is and understand the overall goal of what your plan is before you start to execute any plans. So you want to really carefully select your online marketing channels, and a digital strategy can help you do that, so that you can achieve your most optimal results. Oftentimes, the terms digital marketing strategy and digital marketing campaign are used interchangeably. But for the purpose of this, we're going to be talking about digital strategy as regarding the overall holistic strategy, or otherwise known as 360 marketing strategy. And when we refer to campaigns, we're going to be talking about how to focus in on individual channels, and kind of how to build a campaign around individual channels. We're not going to really go into so much into campaigns today. We're really going to be focused on overall strategy, and then we can dive into the different platforms. So I will touch on the different platforms during this brief talk. So why should you even be thinking about doing this? Well, if you don't have a digital marketing strategy, your company will be trying all sorts of techniques without a guidebook, and that's not really a good thing. You want to make sure that you've got a guide to help you achieve, to help you know what you're trying to do, as opposed to trying different things here and there without an overall holistic plan. The channels that you don't choose are as important as the channels that you choose. So, as a small business, and we're really talking, largely to small businesses here. I mean, if you're a marketer for a big business, you're welcome to stay, and we're happy to have you. But really want to focus in on small businesses, especially those small businesses that are struggling with their digital marketing presence. So if you kind of don't know what to do, or you get a lot of information, maybe you get ads, you get advertised some marketing platforms, that you're in the right place. And small businesses are really limited with regard to time and energy resources. So you don't have the time or the energy to spend on this platform and then trying out this platform and this platform, especially considering that a lot of these platforms are paid. Running ads on 3 or 4 different platforms can be hugely costly, especially if you're not getting the return on investment. So it's important for us to make sure that you're picking the right platforms ahead of time, and then following through with the plan, and then you're able to measure whether or not that plan is successful, or if it's not successful, how to change your plan. So that's kind of what we're here to help you guys do. It's really, so generally, it's better to select the right 3 marketing channels. than it is to divide your efforts across, so many channels that you're really doing them. You can't do any one of those channels particularly effectively. It's also really is as kind of touched as I just kind of touched on. It's kind of dangerous to for small businesses to try so many different things because of the costs involved and the number of marketers out there that want to sell you their platforms and sell you their services, software as a service, services out there. It makes things seem like things are very easy. They can often make you kind of lure you in with the ideas that these things are easy, and try to get you into doing certain things that are outside of what your original plan was. But if you're armed with a strategy, then you won't take the bait. So our goal here is to arm you with a strategy, help you understand what your strategy can be, so you won't jump on every little offer that comes around, and you'll be very selective as far as what platforms you want to choose, which channels you want to use. So with that, just what are some of the stats, right? Like, basically, 70% of companies right now are either have a digital transformation strategy in place or are currently working on one. And so it's really something that companies are really doing a lot, but it's something that, I've noticed that a lot of small businesses, especially traditional businesses, aren't really utilizing this to the greatest extent. So even though lots of companies are doing digital transformations, especially now in the age of COVID, or as we're moving out of COVID, companies are doing traditional transformations, transforming themselves. Small businesses tend to be a little bit behind, so we want to kind of catch you guys up, give you guys the knowledge that you need, and arm you with the information as much as possible. So with that, what are the goals of a digital strategy? So when people think of a digital strategy, they usually think of tools. So they usually think of, okay, I want to do social media. I want to do paid ads on, Google search ads. And that's really important, but it's most important to understand the what before moving on to the how. So before you go on to, okay, I need to develop even the website, which is really the number, really one of the top things that we're going to kind of recommend here. It's important for you to think about the strategy first, the what, the game plan, and lay the groundwork for your online presence. So if you're new in business, there's there's some tactics, some strategies that you need to look at before you even go into the strategy, before you go into the basics. And one of those things, one of the really important things is your customer persona. Understanding your customer is really vital and really critical. So if you're starting a business out, a lot of people are starting businesses now, and that's really awesome. If you're starting a business, it's really important that you nail down the customer persona, because so many people want to just kind of go in and say that their customer is some broad group of people, like, women from the ages of 40 and 65, or men from the ages of 20 and 60. Like, it's too broad. I know you want to market to everyone, but it's really important for us to narrow down the market to a very specific core user, so that you can really hone your messaging very carefully. So the customer persona is how we do that. The customer persona helps you understand the needs and message your customers effectively. And it also helps you understand the right channels. So as we talked about just a couple of minutes ago, it's important for you to pick the channel that's effective, and a customer persona will help you find the channels that where your personas exist, where the people who are inside of that sort of demographic are engaging, and then engage with them there. So if your customers happen to be on Instagram, then you can use Instagram, but maybe your customers are not on Instagram. And so it's important for you to choose the right channel, but it's also important for you to not choose the channels where your customers aren't. So customer persona is going to help you get there, and we're going to dive into that more next week. Also, your customer value proposition. So the next thing you do once you figure out what your customer persona is, to understand your customer value proposition, or as you may have You may have seen it in other, people talk about in other areas when when talking about how to develop a business plan, answering the question, what problem you solve. That's a really critical thing, and that is known in business marketing circles as the customer value proposition. And if you can't do that effectively, you're going to lose customers who don't see your value. And it's important for you right away to help folks understand what your value is, so they can stick around and they can engage with you and convert. And that's ultimately what we really want you guys to do, is when your customers get to your pages, that you get them to convert. So the next thing that it sort of is as part of this sort of pre-planning in this pre-planning phase is the customer journey. And the customer journey is a critical element to user experience design. It helps you understand the various pain points of the customers and how you can solve them. So you really need to understand the journey before you move on to the sales funnel. I know a lot of you guys probably have already kind of worked on the sales funnel. You kind of think about, okay, well, this is what I want to do. This is how I want to convert folks. But if you don't understand what your customer journey is, then your sales funnel will be lacking. So we don't want your sales funnel to be ineffective. We want really effective sales funnels. And again, this is why it's really important to not to buy into the different marketing companies that are selling you platforms to build online sales funnels and things like that, until you understand what your strategy is. And then at that point, then you can look at some options for implementing the goals, the plan that you've already put in place. Your customer journey, when you've actually sort of put together a customer journey, or kind of figured out what the customer journey is going to answer the questions such as, where will your customers be coming from? How are they going to find you? How will you solve the problem for them? As we talked about the customer value proposition, how are you going to solve their problem for them? And what will they do afterwards? What are they going to do after they get their problem solved? That's going to be important for you to understand your relationship, how you enter into the relationship with the customer, and how you maintain an ongoing relationship with your customer. So then the next thing that we're going to discuss is branding. Branding is important as well. So again, these are not just digital concepts; these are just general marketing concepts, and it's really important to understand and understand them. You need to brand your companies. It's really important. What are the ideas that you want your customers to associate with your company, and how can you make those easier to remember? So what are the things? This is why people always focus on logos, and logos are important. And a logo is really a tool that helps you associate an image with an idea with a company. So it uses imagery and colors and design, but ultimately it's not about the image and colors and design as much as it is about helping you associate with an idea with a company. So these are the important aspects that will help you guys nail down before we move ahead into the other aspects of digital strategy. And we're going to be just discussing these in more detail in the coming weeks. And then it's about after we get kind of through all these kind of sort of pre-planning things, it's important to build the foundation. And the foundation is usually where businesses start oftentimes, but even then, small businesses often tend to try to do these things in the wrong order or do them in a piecemeal fashion. And we want to kind of think of everything holistically. So it's really important to build an entire foundation. Once we understand who we are, who our customers are, what our role in their customer journey is, then we want to build an entire foundation from the ground up across the various channels that we think are going to be the most important for us. And the ones that I would recommend for you would be strategies such as web implementation. So obviously, website's going to be vitally important. You need to have a website. It's not good enough to have simply a landing page. Web landing pages are great for ads, but you need to have an overall business website. A SEO implementation, creating your social media pages and creating an email flow. And you want to build them all, as I mentioned, together. Don't rely, if you have budget issues, there's ways that we can get around budget, and we're going to be talking about budget as well. But you want to make sure that you're building these all together and holistically, because if you don't, it's a little bit like building a plane while you're trying to fly it. So that's not what we want to do. It's going to end in it's probably going to end unsuccessfully, but we want to give you the best chance for success possible. And so I'm recommending that to you, that we kind of look at these in a holistic way. And the next is, it's important to pick the channels, and we're gonna talk about channels, but to pick the right channels for your demographic. So that's where you go into talking about whether your customers are on Facebook, or whether your customers are on Instagram, or maybe your customers are on TikTok. So we talk about each of the channels and how you can engage with your customers on those channels, by picking the right channels, and again, most importantly, not picking the channels that are not effective. Then you want to finally, you want to develop KPIs. So now that you've picked the channels that are important, you want to develop the KPIs, the key performance indicators, that help you know what you're improving and what needs more improvement. And the way that you can do that is to basically, for each of the channels, pick a few main metrics that you want to track, and immediately track where they are currently, and where you want, and understand where you want those to go. And whenever you run a campaign, you're looking for improvement. We're always looking for improvement. We don't want to stay in the same place. If you are able to improvement, you can mark that as a success, and actually give yourself an actual metric that you want to hit. And if you hit that metric, you can mark that as a success. And if you don't hit that metric, maybe there's something that needs to be changed. But you can't do that without measurement. So measurement is vitally important as well. So how can you do all of this? There's a lot of stuff, just out of the box. How do we get to this point where we have developed this entire digital strategy? So the one thing that you can do is simply hire an agency to do these things. Agencies are that's their bread and butter. They build strategies and implement them. And so that's one way to go. The other way to do this, that's going to be a little bit less, it's going to be a little bit more cost effective for you, perhaps, is to follow the program that we are recommending, which is to follow our videos and the content on our website. Again, linked down below. And again, this is coming to you free of charge. So this is not something that we are selling to you. It's just something that we want to provide because we think it's useful. It can be useful information, and it's something that I feel as though a lot of small businesses, again, a lot of you guys are going through a digital transformation or looking towards doing a digital transformation. I think this is something that can be really, really useful for you. So then we can look at some of the tools in the toolbox, and these are some of the things that we're going to be talking about in the coming weeks, and in more detail. But the tools in the toolbox are the various things that we can try to focus on for improvement. But we cannot do these before we jump into strategy. So we're going to be talking about things such as search engine optimization. It's hugely important. It's really important that you optimize your search performance, optimize for search performance. So search engine optimization, search engine marketing, which is paid search ads, social media marketing, organic social media marketing, social media advertising, content marketing, email marketing, and automation tools. And then of course we're going to be talking about how you can use analysis tools to measure your results, so that you can measure your measure where you are and where you want to go moving forward. So that's what I want to talk about. So that's what I wanted to talk about today regarding digital marketing strategy. I want you guys to stay tuned next week. We're going to go into how you can develop your customer personas. And I think it's going to be a really awesome chat. I'll be passing the ball over to Ernesto. Ernesto is going to give us an awesome presentation on that. So with that, just want to, again, welcome you guys. If you guys are new to the eBiz Marketing Academy, we are an online marketing, an online community and platform for business skills learning. We're here for all sorts of business types, business owners, e-commerce business owners, service businesses, local business coaches, digital marketers. If you again, if you're here from a larger company or agency and you just want to kind of, hone up on your knowledge set, you're welcome here. We're all, we welcome you guys, and so thank you for joining us, and we hope you have an awesome day and an awesome week, and we're looking forward to seeing you again next week.